Welcome to my Shackley Health Chat. We're going to talk today about ADHD and ADD. And just for those of you who don't know me, my name is Stephanie Stafford. I am a personal trainer, a strength and conditioning specialist. I also am a nutritionist. I'm a yoga instructor. I'm studying herbal medicine now. I live in this whole bubble of health and wellness because there's so many pieces that bring it all together. There is no one avenue of health and wellness that does it all. You kind of need the whole spread. So I've been coaching athletes. I'm an athlete myself, as you can see. I play roller derby. Well, I did. I retired just a few months ago to reffing only because I'm an old dog now. But I've got my kids, dogs. I love being in this space of being a healthy person. And why did I choose to partner with Shackley? Mostly because for years, I knew there was a huge need for appropriate supplementation to address a lot of these concerns that we're finding. But I never found a product that I really truly felt comfortable recommending to my clients, my friends, other family, until I discovered Shackley. So with that, I thought we might as well kick off and talk actually about nutrition. So for our kids to be happy and healthy and thriving, they truly need quality nutrition. And they also need a variety of other things: appropriate rest, sleep time. They need exercise and perhaps significantly less screen time than I know my children are getting. They need playtime. They need fun. They need to just be kids. They need a toxic-free environment. There's so much crap in our world, and we'll talk about that in a minute as well. They also need a healthy diet with real, clean, healthy foods, because we cannot leave our critical nutrients to chance. So 100 years ago, we had fresh water, good organic fruits and vegetables. Our vegetables were nutrient dense because our soil had good nutrients in it. Our cattle and other foods were hormone-free, antibiotic-free. We sat down and we ate real meals at the table. We weren't running around like crazy wild animals like we do these days. Now, we have all sorts of crap in our food: pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, growth hormones, antibiotics, GMOs, and all sorts of heavy metals. And it's just this toxic environment that we as humans have created, and it has infiltrated our food sources as well. Now, on top of that, you have to look at what are we as a culture eating. And you look at all of the fast food, the sugars, the desserts, the quick, ready to grab things. And that's when you can say that, according to the US Surgeon General, there no longer can be any doubt about the link between diet and disease. In fact, within 10 years of McDonald's hitting Africa, they started to have all of the same long-term diseases that we were having caused by poor diet, when they didn't have any of that before in Africa. And then they get fast food, and now they're just about as unhealthy as we are. So what does all of that mean in terms of the health of our children? We can look at, cancer being the number one cause of death in our children. 1 in 13 kids have food allergies. That's way different than it was 100 years ago. 1 in 10 kids has asthma. There's heart disease in kids that are, under 5 years old. I mean, serious heart disease. Juvenile diabetes, 1 in 68 are affected by autism. Okay, 33% of childhood diseases are caused by environmental toxins. There's epilepsy, there's developmental disabilities, and of course, the topic that we are going to be focusing on today is ADHD, which is going to affect 1 in 10 kids. So I guarantee that every single person on this call, or if you're listening to this call after the fact of the record and on the recording, everybody knows someone who is affected by ADD or ADHD, whether it's your own kids, yourself, a friend's kids. It is everywhere. And it is a really bad epidemic. Okay, what is the cause? When we really want to look at how can we address naturally our treatments for ADHD. And when I say ADHD, I'm really referring to both ADD and ADHD. And to be honest, a lot of autism fits in this same spectrum as well. But one of the biggest causes are the toxins in our environment. It's in our air from the stuff that we burn. It is in our water. And if you just, looking at that picture alone, what is in our water is disgusting. And then it's also in our foods. Look at this baby food test results. 95% of the baby food products tested contained arsenic, lead, cadmium, or mercury, or any combination thereof. Okay, that's horrifying that we are literally introducing toxins into our children at a very, very young age. Then you can say, well, gosh, all of this toxic stuff is going around, but why is it still in our bodies? Because it's stored in the fat. And when our nutrition has deteriorated rapidly since 1980, when fast food became such a big thing, our bodies can no longer effectively detoxify from all of this environmental exposure. And 60% of our brains are fatty tissue. So when all those chemicals are stored in the fats, it's really strongly affecting what's going on in our brains, brain development, and our abilities to focus and really think clearly. Now, you can also look at hidden food allergies. Some people have food allergies where they go into anaphylactic shock. It's pretty obvious. It's right there in front of your face. But there are a lot of people who have food allergies that aren't quite as severe as that, or food intolerances. And there are some hidden symptoms that you might see and don't know that it is strongly associated with these food allergies. Chronic coughs, bedwetting, persistent colds, stuffy nose, reoccurring ear problems, leg and muscle cramps, repeated nosebleeds. And of course, the three that really clearly say, hello, ADHD, here I am: hyperactivity, poor attention span, irritability, and then pale skin and dark circles under the eyes. So if you're thinking about, especially your kids, do you see any of these things going on with the kids? Because a lot of that is there is some sort of a food that they are super sensitive to. And if you simply eliminate it from the diet, you can have huge results on improving their ADHD, improving their ability just to focus and think clearly and learn. Now, when we look specifically at food sensitivities that are directly correlated to ADHD, the big heavy hitters are gluten. So it's mostly your wheat products. And also gluten is hidden in a lot of things. So you need to really look at labels when you're trying to pull gluten out of the diet, because it's in a lot of foods. Milk and dairy. And I know maybe that's your breakfast cereal in the morning, but again, there is a lot of dairy woven through a lot of foods. Corn. It's a grain that a lot of people think, okay, well, if I don't have wheat, then I can have corn instead. But corn is almost just as strongly correlated with ADHD as the gluten is. And then there are a lot of nut allergies that are rampant amongst the ADHD community. And it doesn't mean that that's everybody, but those are places to start looking. And a lot of times, if you just pull one out for a couple of weeks and then introduce it back in and really take a look at what is different in your kids or in yourself, if you're the one who is affected with the ADHD and just the lack of focus. Now, something else that's a huge problem in our diets are the hidden sugars. Kids eat an average of 2 pounds of sugar a week. It's frightening because your sugar is going to deplete your essential nutrients, especially your B vitamins, causes irritability, short attention span, and mood swings. So why do we have so much? Well, a lot of things are full of sugar, things like ice cream, cake, sugar cookies, Hershey bars. And you can see even ice cream is only 8.9% sugars versus the Hershey bar at 35% sugar. So the more processed these foods, the higher that sugar content. But there's a lot of sugar, just like the gluten, hidden in a lot of foods that you may not know are super sugary, like ketchup, 29% sugar. That is insane. Fruit flavored yogurts, those little yogurts with the fruit on the bottom that my kids love. Of course they love it. It's 14% sugar. Shake and bake, I had no idea until I started looking some of these things up. Shake and bake is 51% sugar. At what point in time do we really need to coat our chicken with sugar before we cook it? That doesn't seem like a thing I would want to do. But if you don't know it's there, you don't know it's there. And then peanut butter, 12 to 25% sugar. Like your more all natural peanut butters are going to be lower. But if you're looking at just like your Jiffy off the shelf, it's going to be pretty darn high. And the funny thing is, you can make nut butters with no sugar in it. There's no reason for there to be any sugar in it. Literally, you take your roasted nuts of choice, throw it in the blender with a little bit of olive oil, and you blend it up and you have a nut butter. It won't last as long on the shelf. You need to refrigerate it, but it's delicious. My kids gobble it up when I make almond butter that way. So there are alternatives to all of this excessive sugar. You simply have to be prepared. Now, a lot of times when we are addressing certain issues, there's a natural approach, and then there is the Western medicine drug approach. Now, sometimes there is a time and a place for some of the medications, but if you don't know all of the side effects, it's kind of hard to make an informed decision. So in terms of ADHD, you've got stimulant drugs and non-stimulant drugs. So if you're looking at the ones that are stimulants, some of the side effects, anxiety, nervousness, insomnia. I mean, seriously, if good sleep is going to help us think, how is insomnia going to be a positive benefit? Loss of appetite or weight loss, headaches, dizziness, stomach pain, mood alterations, allergic reactions, and of course, the scary ones I put in red, suicidal thoughts and psychotic behavior, increased blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, sudden death. And there's huge potential for abuse because these stimulant drugs are kind of like taking speed. Yes, they do help the brain focus, but at what cost? Now, there is another category of ADHD drugs, and those are the non-stimulant drugs. And those still have a slew of side effects: upset stomach, loss of appetite and weight loss, lack of energy, mood swings, and again, suicidal thoughts and psychotic behavior, seizures, heart rhythm issues, sudden death, and liver damage. And when I look at this list, I have to say, gosh, before we even go there, can we try adjusting the foods that we eat and that we have in the house? Can we try another way that's a little bit more holistic and let this be a last resort, not the first place we go? So when you think about that, there have been clinical trials that actually show supplementation can increase our nutritional status. It increases our resistance to disease, our cognitive learning abilities, and greatly improves ADHD symptoms. So if you can do that by adjusting the foods you eat, cutting out the sugar, maybe looking for some foods that have hidden allergies, but then also appropriately supplement, especially looking at B complex, because those are essential for nerve and brain transmission. They are also strongly depleted by the sugars, refined carbs, stress, medications, and unfortunately, caffeine. But your probiotics help your gut do the job it needs to do. And 40% of our neurotransmitters are made in the gut, and that's going to help our brains function the way they're supposed to function. Our omega-3 fatty acids, because like I said, the brain is 60% fat. So having the appropriate fatty acids to help the brain function is huge. And then a good quality protein shake is a fantastic way to start the day off with protein. There's more omegas in there, plus just a whole lot less sugar, enables you to start your day with the right kind of energy and the ability to focus. So when we're looking at all of these supplements, we have to say, what is a good source to get supplements that are safe and effective? And that is why I ended up partnering with Shaklee, because before this, I had not found something that had any science to back up any of the claims they had. But here in Shaklee, we've got over 350 tests on every new botanical ingredient for harmful contaminants, pesticides, or other residues. And when we know we're testing for all of this crap that could be in vitamins, then we know we're going to be free of all of that crap. And other vitamins, I mean, I have a friend who now is with Shaklee, but her kids still 10 years later are fighting the effects of high lead that they got from the vitamins that they took before they discovered Shaklee. So really the quality is important. And over 300 million in research and development, including I know this slide's a little bit old, it says 125 published scientific studies. It's now, I think, at 141 or 142. And these are real research in peer-reviewed journals. Most of the studies are placebo-controlled, double-blind, like real science done by a third party who simply use the Shaklee products. We've got over 100,000 quality tests to ensure the purity and potency. And we screen for more than 250 pesticides above what the US Pharmacopoeia requires. So that is in addition to whatever everybody else is doing. We go above and beyond for 250 more pesticides and harmful ingredients. And it's also a company that cares about the environment. When you look at all that toxicity in the environment, in the year 2000, Shaklee became the first climate certified neutral company. And we've maintained that climate neutral certification every year since by planting over 1 million trees amongst a variety of other things. So with that said, we've had the first multivitamin created back in 1915 by Dr. Shaklee, who came up with this whole company. And the company's been around for 65 years. And in 65 years, there's never been a recall. And that alone shows the proof that they're doing all of the work up front before product even hits the shelves to ensure that it is safe and effective. And it's something that we can give our kids without fear. Plus, every product's 100% guaranteed. So when you want to try something and see if it makes a difference, you might as well try it. Because if it doesn't make a difference, you get your money back. No big deal. Now, before we get into the supplements, I do need to address the environmental toxins because there's so much crap under your cupboard when you're using Clorox bleach and whatever else. And I know in my house, I've tried to keep all of the toxic crap to the garage because my husband's a mechanic. It's going to be around, but we shove it all to the garage and nothing else is in the house except that which is clean and pure and toxic free. And when you're looking at the grocery store, even if it says green on the label, that doesn't ensure that it is actually toxic free. There are a lot of chemicals hidden in these green cleaners that you can find, but at Shaklee, everything is completely toxic free. And in fact, the basic H, you can use that to clean your vegetables and make sure you get all the crud that could be on the surface off. It's so toxic free, you can clean your foods with it. So this is the stuff that we use in our house because if you can eliminate the toxins, that makes a huge difference for our kids' abilities to focus. So with that said, we're going to start off with our all-in-one gummy pack, our kids' Meology. So this is going to have 2 multivitamins, a little gummy for immune health, and the omega-3 jellies. Once these came out, my kids started taking them, and I saw a huge improvement in my daughter's ability to focus. It's literally over the last 4 or 5 months that she's been consistently taking a packet a day because I don't have to remind them. They just do it. And then they complain when they are gone if the new ones haven't arrived yet. But just that little jelly alone of the omega-3s, getting that to her brain has made a huge impact. And now at 14 years old, she's in high school. Now it really matters if she gets good grades. Back in middle school, grade school, whatever, it was just like, yeah, we're getting there. But once it gets to high school, those grades really matter. And it's really nice to finally have something that can get those omegas into her body. And we've also got, 11 essential vitamins and minerals, 100% of the daily value of 8 core essential vitamins. This is covering that bubble of general nutrient health, making sure we're covering all of our bases so our basic nutrient needs are met. So when we do have the crap food in our diet, we can still have a good base. But that good base only gets us so far, and sometimes we need a little extra push. And that's where we're going to start with our Omega Guard. It's our omega-3 fatty acids, which are going to directly impact our brain health in a positive way. It prevents memory loss and depression. It improves ADD and ADHD. It reduces inflammation and the risk of heart disease. It improves our circulation, and it helps prevent macular degeneration. But for the most part, you've got 60% of that brain. It's fatty tissue. Let's give it the right nutrients to support it. And our omegas come in 3 different forms. You can get it as the regular fish oil, which is clean and pure. But now we have a vegan form because not everybody wants to eat fish. We have plenty of vegans who need that omega-3 fatty acids. So it's derived entirely from a plant-based source. And then we have our chewable omega-3 jellies that come completely separate or as part of that kids meology pack. So sometimes you just need a little extra boost in addition to what's in that kids meology pack, and you can get the extra ones and just have a few extras. But then we have our B complex. Now, just to remind you, hugely depleted by stress, sugars, refined carbs, alcohol, caffeine, and most medications. It's also a water-soluble vitamin. So it's something that if we supplement just once a week, it's flushed out of the body by the next day. It's something we need to take in every single day. Now, in real whole food, you can find these in your dark green vegetables as well as your whole grains. But we all know that our kids are not eating enough of our dark green leafy vegetables. So we need a little extra boost to that. It is very essential for the brain and for the nervous system. It helps to prevent the sugar cravings. So it's not just the willpower getting rid of the sugar, but we're actually supporting the system with a way to crave it less. It's going to regulate our blood sugars, and it really, truly will help our little kiddos have brains that can focus, and it improves that overall mood. And when they're not feeling like anxiety and stress riddled, they can also focus better. Now, our vitamin D3 is going to improve heart function, brain function, immune system. It helps absorb calcium for strong bones and teeth. It enhances weight loss if that's necessary. But here's the thing, is it improves our sleep. Just like the B complex, it is completely blown out of our systems with high stress. And when our kiddos are having problems in school, they're having problems focusing, the stress is really a big factor. And when they're depleting their vitamin D, again, they can't focus. So we need to supplement that. And in fact, vitamin D deficiency is rampant in our communities. And even though here in Colorado, we have so much sunshine, and we're going, we get our vitamin D from the sun, we still aren't getting enough. Almost everybody that I know who's gotten a blood test in the last year has been deficient in vitamin D. So it is important to add that to our supplementation. It may help with fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, infertility, depression, dementia, multiple sclerosis, osteoporosis, and a whole slew of other things. So it just helps our bodies focus and do what they need to do. One of my favorites is actually the stress relief complex. So this is the one that actually takes that cortisol that we're producing when we're in that fight or flight response, and it just pushes it back down again. It decreases the cortisol that's in our systems. The 2 amino acids, L-theanine and L-tyrosine, are really important for increasing the dopamine levels in our bodies. And when you increase the dopamine, that's kind of like that, I feel happier, I can do more things. But that increase in dopamine allows us to focus more. Plus the ashwagandha and I can't even say the word. The ashwagandha, we're just going to leave it there, is great for bringing down that cortisol in the body and relaxing us. So when we can relax and not feel so anxious, again, it enables us and our children to be more alert and more focused. It's really an important thing, especially when they start to have a lot of tests and test anxiety, and they say, I can't focus and I need time and a half. The stress relief complex, if your kids can't swallow it, you can crush it up, put it in a little bit of applesauce or maybe some yogurt or something like that. And it's really easy for them to take it. This is one that my daughter takes on a very regular basis because that school stress is just really, really horrible. Now, our probiotics are amazing. Again, the immune system is in the gut, but also those neurotransmitters coming from the gut. And if our gut is not healthy, not only are we not getting all those neurotransmitters, but we are going to have depression, anxiety, mood swings, and difficulty concentrating. So what we need to do is make sure that we are promoting the good bacteria in our gut. When our guts become full of yeast and inflamed, we can't digest anything. So if we're not able to digest anything and really absorb it, then we can't get the energy we need for our brains to work, for our bodies to work. No wonder our kids can't focus when their guts are just a hot mess. And the probiotics, it comes in two forms. There's like a little itty bitty pearl. It's easy for kids to swallow. It's a great introduction to being able to swallow their own vitamins. But there's also a capsule that if you need to, you can break it apart and dump it into a drink or a yogurt or something to enable the kids to take it without having to swallow anything. And then we have our Life Shake, our protein shake. And this is one where I would say probably 4 or 5 days of the week, my little guy asks for a shake for breakfast. And when you have the full 2 scoops of the shake, you're getting 20 grams of protein, 24 vitamins and minerals, plenty of fiber. It's gluten-free, dairy-free. It has omegas in it. It's low glycemic. It's overall a great way to start your morning so that your brain is functioning and you're not starting off with a whole pile of sugar and that sets off all of the lack of focus. You're starting off with good proteins and good omegas and good vitamins. And it tastes good. So my little guy, I usually make one. I split it between the two of us because he won't drink the whole thing. But it really makes a difference in how he can focus and learn in school. And then we have our MindWorks. This one, it's like kind of that, woohoo, when everything else, may help, may not help, but the MindWorks. It has the Chardonnay seed extract, the guarana seed extract. It actually increases the circulation to the brain. So you get 3 times better memory, focus. And if our kids can't focus, again, if they can't swallow the pill, you can crush it up. This is one I have not yet started with my kids, but I actually just added it to my last order for my daughter for a daily addition because, oh my gosh, why not make your brain focus just that little bit sharper? And especially if anyone is getting older and struggling with focus and memory, that's another good one to add for those who are maybe having, some memory issues with old age. So it's not just for the kids, it's for a little bit of everybody. And then a couple others that I would be remiss if I didn't add them in. The calcium magnesium, it is chewable, but it's going to really help our kiddos just calm down at the end of the day. And when they can calm down, again, they can focus. They can also get better sleep, which will improve their focus the next day. And the vitamin C, which comes in multiple forms, chewable as well as non-chewable. The vitamin C, there's been numbers of studies that have shown vitamin C helps improve our focus and helps with the ADHD symptoms and brings that crazy anxiety down. So that's just a little overview of what can we do with real whole food, what can we do in our environments, and what can we do supplementally to really make an impact and avoid the medications that have so many side effects that are frankly quite frightening. And let those medications be the last resort after you've tried everything else. So when it comes to Shaklee, there are 3 ways that people do choose to come on board with us. A lot of people want to come on, use the products, get amazing results, and we love our members. They are fantastic. But just like with everything else, you might want to share if you've seen a good movie, you share if you had a good TV show, or you go to a restaurant that you like. You will likely also share a product that makes an impact in your life. And so some people will come on board as a referral partner and get a little extra money, a little side gig, and share what's working for them. But then we also have people who think, gosh, why not build a business where I can give health back to the world? And those are people who choose to build a business to provide themselves and their families with time freedom, financial freedom. It's amazing what you can do if you choose to build a business. So if anybody's interested in any of those 3 options, please go back to the person who invited you onto this call, have a conversation with them, and let them know kind of where you stand. So with that, I say here's to our healthy children. Thank you so much for joining us.